Get away, horrible baby monster! This is the worst thing I've ever... This is the worst thing that has ever happened to me, ever. And my dad left.
Resident Evil Village was released to the world on May 7th and immediately became critically acclaimed as one of the better games in the series. I got my hands on it on the 10th, and ever since I've been playing it non-stop until last night where I finally completed it. Resident Evil is a very well recognised name in the gaming world, so, as a massive fan of the series myself, when a new one was announced, I was ecstatic. Welcome to the Spuds Cooper channel, and here is my Resident Evil Village full review. Putting into words how much fun I had with this game is going to be difficult, and the main reason it was so enjoyable is because of the improved gameplay from the previous main series game, Resident Evil Biohazard. Gunplay has improved drastically, and thankfully there is context as to why. It's disclosed early in the game that after Resi 7, Ethan underwent military training in case a similar situation befell him and Mia again, so Ethan was fully prepared to kick some ass this time. Not only does the gunplay feel more stable and refined, but it also feels like bullets make a proper impact, unlike Resi 7. There are also plenty of new mechanics to enjoy when it comes to combat. A less useful one I found is being able to strike a bag of flour to create a cloud of cover and make an escape or attack attempt. However, an extremely useful one is being able to push away an enemy after you block their attacks. The game isn't short of horror either. Never before have I actually had to step away from my screen and take a break because of how scared I was, and that is a real achievement for the game in my opinion. I'm a massive horror fan, and no other game has came close to making me feel the fear that this game swept me with. Sorry, I actually need a second. Throughout the game you get greeted by a bunch of new and incredibly original enemies, the recurring one being the Lycans, werewolf-like creatures who have overtaken the village. In Castle Dimitrisk you come across half-zombie, half-vampire-like creatures who reside in the shadows mostly, and in Heisenberg's factory you come across cyborg enemies, which made for some of the scarier parts of the game in my opinion. Personally, I feel like this game falls very short on its boss fights. Similar to a lot of previous Resi games, it still follows the typical Resident Evil formula, humanoid enemy becoming a big monster, and to be honest, I think this formula is growing quite stale. However, they did improve the boss fights slightly by making the bosses not have such obvious weak points like previous games where the weak point will 99% of the time be some random mutated eye. Exploration also felt great. I enjoyed being able to backtrack to most of the places I'd visited, as there was always a new place to explore in said areas, as I now had items to be able to open certain things such as gates or locked doors. You can also find treasures scattered around the village. Each main villain has one, and there are random ones just here and there which you can sell for in-game currency called lei, which brings me on to the Duke.
Hey bro.
Duke was a very welcome and very needed part of this game. He acts like the merchant from Resi 4, selling you much needed supplies and buying non-needed supplies off you for lei. He can also upgrade weapons for you and cook meals that have permanent effects on Ethan, provided you fetch him the ingredients. He pops up every so often, and he added to the rather creepy atmosphere of the village, and always had a save point nearby. I am also so happy that the game was able to perfectly balance action and horror. The series underwent a dark period a few years ago as the games became more based around action than horror, and they resulted in some of the worst games of the series. However, similar to Resi 4, this balances the two perfectly and constantly switch my mood between.
This is horrible. This is really cruel. I hate this. Duke, I'm gonna go.
And then around 10 minutes later, I would be like,
I'm not even asked that he's a big monster. This is sick.
It's a pleasure to see you safe.
Not
How worthy.
pretty pog. I saw a really sexy vampire woman.
the graphics in this game are gorgeous. Everything is so refined and character models are fantastic. Capcom never failed to deliver in the graphical department, so I didn't expect much less than what we got, to be honest. Ethan's character model is also shown a lot more in this game as well, which I'm a big fan of. Granted, it's still not really shown what he looks like, but it was still a nice touch.
Chris?
Chris!
What the hell?
Sorry, Ethan.
No!
Rosh, he's dead!
What?
Performances in this game are absolutely on point. Todd Soley's performance as Ethan Winters once again is a stellar performance, despite the fact a lot of his lines are so cheesy that they sound like they're ripped straight from an 80s movie. Resi 3 actor Jeff Shine also returns. This time he plays Chris Redfield instead of Carlos Oliveira. In my opinion, The standout performance of the game was Neil Newbon as Carl Heisenberg. Heisenberg taunts Ethan for a few minutes at the start of the game and then in the closing hours of the game, and I love the way that Newbon sounded so egotistical about it all. It was really fun to see. Also, Aaron LaPlante as Duke and Maggie Robertson as Lady Dimitrisk deserve some recognition as well. Here comes a jump scare because the music's gone.
No, friendly, friendly.
The game picks up 3 years after Resi 7. Ethan and Mia have emigrated to Romania and have had a child named Rose. Ethan can't seem to forget the past, whereas Mia just wants him to let it go, so their relationship seems very rocky. All of a sudden, Mia gets shot and a mysterious figure approaches a terrified Ethan. It's revealed to be series regular Chris Redfield, as he says, "Sorry, Ethan," and proceeds to shoot Mia in the head multiple times.
It happened so long ago. I don't understand why you are so...
Did you cut my hand off?
Mia, get down.
Chris and his team take Ethan and Rose, but unfortunately, the truck is attacked and crashes in the middle of nowhere. Ethan awakes, and Rose has been taken, and so begins the search. Ethan makes his way through a forest to find an eerie, isolated village, and, as you probably guessed by the title, this is where the rest of the game takes place. The rest of the game follows Ethan as he makes his way through the village under the rule of an evil woman named Mother Miranda and retrieves parts of Rose from each of her 4 children: Alcina Dimitrisk, Donna Bernavinto, Salvatore Moreau, and Carl Heisenberg. First up is most people's favourites, Lady Dimitrisk. Castle Dimitrisk basically acts like a tutorial section, except you're stalked by really sexy vampire women. The goal is to find Rose, but once it's revealed that she's not there, the goal is to escape. You end up killing all 3 of the Dimitrisk daughters, and in your escape attempt to kill Lady Dimitrisk as well, you grab a piece of Rose that you find and leave for the next child.
Right, how do I fuck you over?
Donna Bernavinto is next, and this made for both the best and the worst part of the game. It's the worst part of the game because of how pants-shittingly scary it is, and it's the best part of the game because of how pants-shittingly scary it is. It really feels like a saw trap as you're taking things from a doll in front of you which help you escape House Bernavinto until a horrible giant baby monster gets in your way. Once you escape, you kill Donna and leave with another piece of Rose. Moreau is third, and honestly, I really don't have much to say about him. He was a rather boring villain and boss fight in my opinion. I got through his section in under 40 minutes, killed him in his mutated blob form, and left with the 3rd piece of Rose.
What the hell are you?
Stay back.
Oh, was that Moreau?
Finally is my favourite, Heisenberg. Being the prick he is, he makes you fight your way through a Lycan stronghold to acquire his piece of Rose. Then he asks you to meet at his factory, where he tries to make a deal with Ethan. They team up and use Rose's power to kill Miranda. Ethan declines and is dropped into his hellhole of a factory.
You're few.
Bro, I don't want to take my chances. Ethan!
Ethan fights his way through the factory, killing all Heisenberg's demonic cyborg creatures, until he finally reaches Heisenberg. Heisenberg initially overpowers Ethan, and he's dropped to the bottom of the factory, where he meets Chris again. Chris explains to him that the Mia at the beginning of the game was in fact Miranda, and she's been using the mold from Resi 7 to try and resurrect her child. Ethan says he'll kill Miranda, and Chris is all for it. He gives him a tank that he constructed, and allows him to go and fight Heisenberg and attempt to kill Miranda.
That wasn't her.
Huh?
It was Miranda.
What?
Bro, what? Yo, look at that!
She changed her appearance.
Ethan kills the mutated Heisenberg and proceeds forth to fight Miranda. Miranda taunts Ethan in the multiple forms she's taken throughout the game, and eventually rips Ethan's heart directly from his chest, leaving him to die in the middle of the ritual site. You then play as Chris as he fights his way through the village in an attempt to wipe out the massive mound of mould growing from the centre of it and underground. He finds Miranda's stronghold and stumbles across Mia being kept in a prison cell. He sets her free and tells her that Ethan is dead, and then the game gets a bit confusing. You wake up as Ethan, only to find Evelyn from Resi 7 standing in front of you. It's revealed that Ethan died at the start of Resi 7 when Jack finds him in the attic of the guest house, and this whole time he's been infected by the mould, which is what keeps him alive, and how he endured so much pain. He wakes up in Duke's wagon and manages to gather his strength and makes his way to the ritual site to finally kill Miranda. Miranda is a really tough boss fight, but eventually you kill her and retrieve Rose finally. Ethan tries to make his way out of the village, but is slowly rotting away as the mould takes effect over him. Chris finds him and tries to get him to keep going, but Ethan gives Rose to Chris and steals Chris's detonator, and like the hero he is, sacrifices himself to destroy the mold.
Ethan Winters, you hero.
Ethan.
Chris, get going! Man. You know what, if this is the end of the story of Ethan Winters, I'm quite happy.
We then skip to around 16 to 17 years in the future. Rose is all grown up and is working for Chris, it appears. She visits Ethan's grave and wishes him a happy birthday. She then gets in a car with an unknown agent and drives off to some unknown place. We are then shown the words, "The father's story is now done," leaving the future of the series very open to a lot of possibilities. There is so much replay value to this game to the point where I'm already playing through it a second time and I'm attempting to get the Platinum Trophy. Everything about this game is just so much fun, which just adds to the overall replay value. As for my thoughts, this is now my absolute favourite Resident Evil game. I think it balanced everything just perfectly and left no unanswered question. I'm also a fan of how it tied up Ethan's story after giving him so much development throughout the game. Overall, this game is a 10 out of 10, perfect in pretty much every way. Horror, action, narrative, graphics, all completely perfect. I don't know what else is due to release this year, but unless God of War 5 releases, I can guarantee this will stay as my favourite game of 2021. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell me what you think of this new video style I'm trying with the little stinger clips in between my talking sections. But for the meantime, I've been Spuds Cooper and I will see you all next time.